If I can have your attention, everybody, we're going to go ahead and roll into our post-race press conference for today's 5th annual South Point 400 here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We're joined now on stage by the winning crew chief today, Paul Wolfe, the number 22 Pennzoil Ford for Team Penske. Paul, this is your 5th win here as a crew chief. Your 2nd here with Joey Logano, but none more sweeter than today, punching your ticket into the championship 4. Walk us through that.
Yeah, I was talking to someone out there. I thought I'd only won 4 times, so thanks for reminding me it was 5. I forgot Joey and I had won here already once, but it was obviously turned out to be a great day, not without adversity. Honestly, going into the race today, we weren't confident in what we were going to have. We've really worked hard ever since the Homestead test there a few weeks back to try to get our 1.5-mile program a little better. We've made gains on that, but it was this track's unique with the high speeds, but also the bumps you have to deal with. And so we had a little work to do after practice there, and fortunately the adjustments we made and things we did for the race today, the car had speed, all the Team Penske cars had speed, but with our issues on pit road, we also had to use a little strategy to execute for the win there at the end. So overall, proud of the effort. Obviously, Joey drove a great race all day, kept the car clean, and we were able to, to not give it away at the end.
Great. And we're also joined here by Michael Nelson, the president of NASCAR operations for Team Penske. Michael, just a really strong day overall, exciting finish. What does this mean to Team Penske to be the first to punch your ticket into the championship 4?
Yeah, I mean, it's everything. This is the race that you want to win. You want to peak at the right time. We had good cars today, fast cars, and, the guys are really hungry. We haven't been exactly where we wanted to be. We've just been chipping away at it every week, and, Texas was a little better, and obviously this race was better as well. And so, yeah, I mean, so thankful to be in that final race, and it really gives you a chance to focus on that race and takes a little bit of pressure off.
Good deal. We're going to open the floor for questions. If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll get a wireless microphone to you. We'll start with Dustin and then go to Tom.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Paul, a couple things. On the one pit stop, I think you lost 6 spots. Couldn't get the left rear off, or can you take what happened there, please?
Yeah, it appears from what little bit I studied it during the race, we just had kind of like a bad hang, and the wheel didn't get on the drive pin on the initial hang. And then it just kind of put some material in the holes of the wheel, and then it just makes it very hard for it to draw up tight. It eventually got tight, but then the wheel was, wedged on there to a certain extent, if you will. So then we paid the penalty on the next stop as well, getting it off. After that, obviously we were good to go, but we kind of had to pay for it twice, unfortunately.
Also, we've seen the progression of you guys at 1.5 miles, and I know you referenced the Homestead test, but can you take me through just kind of how you guys have kind of progressed? Because obviously back in May, you'd think it would be Toyotas would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and quite frankly, they did at some places for the most part. How have you guys gotten to this point, and why was you were already showing progress even before Homestead? So why do you feel that was more of a key point?
Well, I think just how we race these days without having practice weekends, I guess, if you will, just having 20-minute practice sessions with very limited things you can change. It's very hard to develop anything new because it's always a fine line of, you run decent, so you're afraid to get too far out of the box. But you also have to get better. So you're making small steps, but really until we got the opportunity to go to Homestead, and I guess actually we had a Charlotte tire test before that as well. When you have data on the car and you have 2 days to put together a plan and try things and try to understand this new car, it makes it hard. So having those opportunities, I'm thankful and that we were able to take advantage of it. It's one thing to test, but you're hoping you can learn something as well. And I said it after Texas. We found speed at Homestead at a test. we tried to carry over some of those things we learned to Texas. It worked. And then coming here this weekend, it appears that it's paying off. So obviously by no means are we all the way done or where we need to be, but we've made a step and we can compete for wins, and I think that's important as we move forward here. And we talk about Blaney. Blaney was very good at the Homestead test as well, so obviously he didn't end up having a good day at the end, and there's no reason he can't go to Homestead with the speed he had there and have an opportunity to win as well.
Tom, and then Jonathan.
Tom Zaleski, Iron County Today. Paul, was the call to go with 4 tires, were you planning that ahead of time, or were you adjusting off of that in the moment, knowing the situation and the laps that were remaining in the race?
Well, I think you always have to be adjusting on the moment or making decisions on the moment depending on how the race is playing out. Obviously, we have thoughts and a game plan going into it, but you have to be able to adapt with whatever comes at you. We had kind of tuned our car around running up front. When we lost that track position, we got pretty tight. And we were kind of at a point where although I thought we were still better than most of those cars in front of us, it's very hard to pass right now. And I felt like we were able to score a lot of points in stage 1 and 2. And if we were running 9th, and if it turned out where we gave up 2 or 3 spots, I felt like we had done a good enough job up to that point in the race. And if we wanted to have the mentality of we're here to win, that was going to be our play to win. We weren't going to have enough time and be good enough with as tight as we were back there to think we were going to drive to the front and win the race. So at that point, with what we were dealt with, I felt like it was kind of an easy call for me.
We'll go next to Jonathan, then to Elliott, then to Zach.
Jonathan Field, the racing expert, CSPN Radio Albuquerque. You made the championship 2 other times, with 2 other drivers, Kozlowski in 17, Logano in 20. What has felt different about the progression of this season versus years past?
Probably a lot of just the unknowns, with this new car. And like I said, as we're trying to learn throughout the year and develop it, there's just a lot of unknowns. The way the playoffs have kind of how it's gone so far, in the years past, you felt like you've had to win races to advance and really run top 5. But we've seen a lot of guys have issues and trouble, some of their own doing, some not. But it's just the racing's a little bit different right now. The competition's closer. There's more non-playoff cars that can contend for wins. So it has quite a bit different feel. But overall, I feel like our team's done a good job since the playoffs have started of getting the most we can out of every weekend. There's been a couple little hiccups along the way, but we've had pretty good speed and fairly good execution. So it was nice to come here today, obviously, and get the win in the first race of this round.
Go to Elliott, then to Zach, and then to the back.
Elliott Stern, Santa Maria Times. Following up on what Tom asked, were you surprised you came in for those 4 tires? You gave up some track position. Were you surprised by how quickly Joey was able to get back up through the field and with only 26 laps to go? And also then looking ahead, Phoenix, does this set you up really good for a track like Phoenix?
I don't know that I'm totally surprised we were able to do what we did. I felt like tires meant something today, and I think everyone had right around 8 or 9 laps on our tires. So honestly, I was just surprised more guys in front of us didn't peel off and come down for tires as well. So honestly, that was kind of a better scenario for us when everyone in front of us stayed out. And then I think there was only 3 cars that were running behind us that stayed out. So we gave up 3 spots for 4 new tires. I thought that was a pretty good trade-off. And our car just had speed today. Like that was a thing. I mean, we were arguably better than most of those guys on equal tires. I knew on a tire advantage, and as good as Joey is at the end of these races, when you give him an advantage like that, he he worked the traffic really well and made it happen. So it took a few laps for the pressures to come up, and then when Ross got out there to a little bit of a lead, I wasn't sure how long it would take to catch him, but then finally we were clicking off quite a bit faster laps, and it didn't take long.
Come front here to Zach, and then back to Joe.
Ernieola with NASCAR.com. For Michael, for as strong as the 22 car was today, Blaney was obviously very fast as well. But again, I had to rebound from an incident. Their resiliency got them into the playoffs in the first place from having to rebound at Daytona. What have you seen from Ryan Blaney and Jonathan Hassler as the season's gone on and they've had to battle back from adversity?
Yeah, well, obviously they're a really good team. You know, they definitely haven't taken the lead in the luck category. Obviously today wasn't a luck situation, but you know they've led so many laps, been in command of a lot of races this year, and you know we're coming up to some tracks that are really good for him. They had a good test at Homestead. He's really good at Martinsville, so you know he's got to run well, and you know a win obviously will help, and I think he's capable of doing that next week. So all he's got to do is just knock the door open, and you know they'll be right there for Phoenix as well.
We'll go to the back there to Joe.
Joseph Igo, Cronkite News, based in Phoenix. Paul, obviously, with a few wildcard tracks coming up, as Joey had the chance to take the lead there with like 8 or 9 to go, just kind of take me through your head as Joey started closing the distance and ended up going to war there with Ross with like 4 to go.
Yeah, well, like I said, initially Ross got out to a pretty good lead, and I wasn't totally sure how long it would take, but once our tire pressures came up in our new tires, and his tires got hot, it really wasn't. I didn't really feel like it was much of a challenge, honestly. I mean, 8 laps is quite a difference in tire advantage, and although the one was up there, I didn't look at him as one of the stronger cars today. He was good, but he wasn't one of the stronger cars in my eyes. I thought his teammate was actually faster than he was. So, like I said, we had a tire advantage and a better car, so I figured it was just a matter of time.